Hello. Hopefully we're working and everyone can hear me. It's the first time we've done a stream like this of a quiz, so we'll give it a go. Apologies for the camera. The lighting in this room's not great. Hopefully you can all hear me. If you could comment below, I think you can do live comments. If you could comment to say that you can hear me. If you want me to turn it up, if it's too loud, let me know in the comments. It's just going to be on pen and paper, this quiz, so you don't need to be typing anything as we go along. There's 4 rounds. We're going to have a round on the season so far, as you can probably see in the top corner there. And there's a round on the Challenge Cup, a round on record breakers of rugby league, and then the final round is a sort of a name quiz. You don't need to necessarily know about rugby, but there's 2 sort of cryptic clues to get the name of a player, past or present. So we'll see, that's a bit of fun at the end. We'll do 2 rounds, then we'll do the answers for those 2 rounds, and then we'll do the final 2 rounds, and then the answers for the final 2 rounds at the end. So yeah, get a pen and paper ready, get comfortable, get yourselves a drink, and hope everyone's staying well and safe. Unusual times, isn't it? Just while everyone's getting ready, can I point you in the direction of the podcast that started last week? Episode 2 was published today. That's on Mixcloud. If you go on mixcloud.com, Swinton_Lions is the club account on there, and the new podcast's out today. We're looking back at the season so far, and also having a chat with Colin Robinson, who went out, I think it was last night or the night before. He's gone out on the front line of my ambulances for the first time. Obviously, these are a strange time, so people are having to do different things from what they normally do. So credit to Colin. He's the club masseuse. If you don't know who he is, I'm sure all our fans know him, but fans of other clubs hopefully are joining us. Again, if you comment in the comments what clubs you're watching from, if anyone is joining us from another club. There aren't any Swinton questions on this quiz, by the way, so anyone can have a go at it. I didn't want to make it too specific. If it's successful, then we'll do it again. If people want a Swinton specific quiz, we can have a look at doing that. Or any other ideas, let me know in the comments or on social media. Swinton_Lions on Twitter. Good way to get in touch with us. I'm just going to have a check on my phone that things are going all right. Believe so. Yeah. So I'll give you another minute just to sit down, and then we'll get started. The questions will be on the screen as well. Hopefully it's not too juddery or laggy. There's quite a lot of graphics stuff going up there, so hopefully our laptop can cope. I'll just put up some shirts behind, cover the background. Okay, so should we get started? Good. Everyone on my WhatsApp groups are saying we sound all right, so we'll crack on, shall we? Round 1 is on the season so far. Pen and paper at the ready, here we go. Question 1. After 7 rounds, who is top of Super League? We had 7 rounds of the season. Not every team has played 7 times, but who's top of Super League? Question 2. Where did Toronto play their first home game? Clue, it's not Toronto. Where did Toronto play their first home game? Question 3. With 7 tries, who is the current top scorer in Super League? 7 tries. I'm not sure if he's played 7 games. 7 tries is a good start to the season, though. 7 rounds in. Question 4. Which Kiwi has made 25 offloads, which is 8 more than the next best player? Big offloader, Kiwi player. Number 4. Question 5. Which player was suspended by Warrington during a police investigation? he's now back and able to play again. I think he might have played the last round before the lockdown, but he's back available again. He was suspended after, I think, the first or second game. Which player was suspended by Warrington? Question 6. Which 3 championship teams remain unbeaten in the league? Which 3 teams in the championship are unbeaten? I think championship's slightly behind Super League and there's been cancellations, but there's 3 teams that are still unbeaten. Question 7. It was announced in March that Ottawa will join League One in 2021. I don't know if that'll still happen, but that's what they've announced. What nickname will they have? Ottawa what? Ottawa joining League One in 2021. They've said they're going to go down more of a Canadian route rather than the Toronto Superstars. What nickname will they have? Number 8. Who was sent off for Warrington in the season opener against Wigan? Who was sent off for Warrington in their first game of the season against Wigan? It was a high tackle close to the try line, if I remember rightly. Number 9. Who will take over from Tony Adams as the RFL president in the summer? Who takes over from Tony Adams this summer as the RFL president? Question 10. Which championship side was set to start playing at a newly built stadium this season? They've not moved in yet. Could be the next game after the lockdown's lifted. Might not be. I don't know if they're able to continue building it. Which championship team should have been in a new stadium by now? I think it was round 2 or 3 they were due to move in there. They're not in there yet. Just going to adjust my seating position. Which championship team were due to start playing at a new stadium in 2020? That's the end of round 1. 10 questions on the season so far. I'm just going to switch over to the YouTube and disable the comments if I can, because I think some people might be putting answers on there, which isn't what we want. Let's see if I can disable that. Let's turn that off. Let's have a look at the comments. Warrington fans, Swinton fans, people saying they can hear it. Someone saying they want a Swinton specific quiz. We'll have a go at that. Leeds fan, well, their answers actually. I'll stop reading them. I thought they were saying they were fans of those clubs, but maybe they're answers. So I won't read any more. Thank you for everyone that's commented. And we'll move on to round 2. The Challenge Cup. Now, the BBC had a bit of a retrospective programme on, I think it was last weekend, showed a load of old finals. So if you're watching that, it might help you with some of these answers. Good show. Some great finals down the years. So here we go. Challenge Cup round 2. Who was the first player to score a hat-trick in a Wembley final? Who was the first player to score a hat-trick in a Wembley final? This was on that programme, so if you're watching, you should know, no excuses. Number 2. In which year was the video referee first used in a Challenge Cup final? In which year was the video referee first used in a Challenge Cup final? I can't tell you if they actually used him, but he was there and he was available. Which year was it? Number 3. Kevin Sinfield shares the record for the most points in cup finals, 46. That's a great effort. But which Wigan legend has also scored 46 points in Challenge Cup finals? Kevin Sinfield has 46 points in Challenge Cup finals, but which Wigan legend also got 46 points? Number 4, Shaun Edwards has appeared in 11 cup finals. 10 of them were for Wigan, because they reached the final every year, didn't they? For donkey's years. But who was the other 4? Who else did Shaun Edwards play in a Challenge Cup final for? Number 5. Who's won more Challenge Cups? Saints or Leeds? It's a bit of a tough one because I'll give you a clue, there's only one between them. And they both won it loads of times. But who's won it more? St Helens or Leeds? Number 6. Where was the 2006 final played? It was the last final before returning to Wembley. Where was the 2006 final played? The last before returning to Wembley. I think they played at 3 different grounds while Wembley was shut. I think. Where was the last one though before they returned to Wembley in 2000? It was the 2006 final. I'm sure some of the people playing along might have attended that. Number 7. Which ground, which is still in use today, hosted the first ever Challenge Cup final? Nobody playing this quiz will have been to that, I'm sure. If you were there, please get in touch because I want to do a feature with you. Which ground, still in use today, that's the big clue, hosted the first ever Challenge Cup final? Number 8. What was unusual about the 1943, 1944 and 1945 finals? What was unusual about the 1943, 1944 and 1945 finals? Skipped ahead there. Number 9, Hull FC. They finally won a Wembley final in 2016, but how many times had they failed to win on the ground before that? Hull FC, they finally won at Wembley. The big hoodoo they had, their fans from the other side of the river taunted them about it for many years. 2016, they broke the hoodoo. How many times did they fail to win at Wembley before that? I think it was 2016, the Danny Houghton, was it 49 tackles he made? I think it was that one. I mean, they won it back to back, I think. Playing a very basic style, just kicking to the corner, but it was effective for them. How many times did they fail to win? And number 10, I think some of you will have seen that already. Who was the only player to have won the Lance Todd Trophy 3 times? That's the Man of the Match trophy in the Challenge Cup final. One player has won it 3 times. Who was it? Right, I'll give you a couple of minutes just to debate with your teammates if you're doing it in teams about any of the answers, and then we'll go through the answers to the first 2 rounds, and then after that we're going to the final part of the quiz. Only a short one, 4 rounds as I said. The third round is on rugby league record breakers, and the final round, which I haven't really come up with a good name for, there's 2 clues to the 2 parts of the player's name, the past and present players. I think it's about a 50-50 split. So there'll be 1 clue which will be for the first name of the player, and the second clue will be for the second name of the player. So you don't necessarily need to know a lot about rugby. You could just go off the clues, or if you're struggling with one of the clues but you know one of the other clues, then you might be able to deduce it. If they've got an unusual name, you might be able to have a guess. That's the final round. I did have another round planned on internationals, but I ditched that in favour of something a bit more fun. But maybe we can do, if we do this again, do the internationals next time. It's a round ready, done, ready to go. So if you want to go get a drink, I'll give you a minute, and we'll go through the answers for the first 2 rounds. Just while we're waiting for that, remember Pride Builder, please sign up to that. I was very impressed to read a couple of weeks back that not many people have stopped their payments into it. Despite these uncertain times, people are a bit unsure about their work, a bit short on money maybe, but fantastic response from our supporters as usual. And the club needs that money. We'll be in a good position to recruit and go forward once things do get back underway. 1 second, I've just got to plug the computer in. We don't want to run out of power, it'd be a disaster. Yeah, so please do stick with Pride Builder, Supporters Trust as well. Good initiative, supporting the club away from necessarily just players, but the day-to-day running. Some great stuff going there. Another plug for the podcast, I will keep mentioning that because it's a good piece of work. It came out today, mixcloud.com/Swinton_Lions, or just search on mixcloud.com, you'll find it. Episode 2 was out today. Episode 1 featured Stuart Littler and Roger Lloyd talking about the lockdown and what they're doing while they're stuck inside. This week's episode featured Colin Robinson talking about going onto the front line with the ambulance service. And we had a look back at the season so far, what little we have played. It's been good. Right, shall we go through some answers for round 1, which was on the season so far? So after 7 rounds, who was top of the Super League? It was Wigan, on 5 wins from 7 games. Where did Toronto play their first home game? It was Headingley. They lost against Castleford in their first home game. Question 3. With 7 tries, who's top scorer in Super League? It's Ben Crooks of Hull Kingston Rovers. They're not doing that well in the table, but he's had a good start to the season. Number 4. Which Kiwi has made 25 offloads, 8 more than the next best? It's Sonny Bill Williams, the big money signing for the Toronto Wolfpack. Superstar of the sport, both codes, box office player. I think when the rugby does get back underway, I might try and get down to see a Toronto game just so I can have a look at him. Number 5, which player was suspended by Warrington pending a police investigation? It was Anthony Gelling, the man of the people, as he calls himself. Was suspended, but he's been cleared to play again. He's back. I think he played in the last game before the lockdown. Question 6. Which 3 teams had an unbeaten start in the championship? It was Toulouse, Leigh and Featherstone. Featherstone only just unbeaten because I think Swinton ran them pretty close, leading at half-time, and it was only the last portion of the game that they pulled away. Good performance from Swinton, but Featherstone do remain unbeaten. The 3 of them looking very strong. Toulouse, Leigh and Featherstone. Where are we up to? Ottawa. Ottawa Aces, it'll be. They'll be coming in next year. Maybe not. We don't know now, but hopefully they will be, and things will be successful for them, and they'll go down the more organic route with Canadian players. So Ottawa Races number 7. Number 8, who was sent off for Warrington in the opening game? It was Chris Hill. High tackle on his own try line. Warrington played quite well in that game. He had a couple of sim-ins as well. Matty Ashton played as well, and I think he made his debut in that game. Good performance from Warrington, but they lost against Wigan in the end. Number 9, who takes over from Tony Adams as RFL president this summer? It's Claire Balding, fantastic broadcaster. No idea what the RFL president does. They always seem to make a big announcement about it, and then you never hear of them again. But maybe she'll be different, who knows. And number 10, which championship side was set to play at a new stadium this season? It's York City Knights, and the football club in York City were due to move into a community stadium. Still not ready, and there seems to be a bit of a dispute between the builders and some of the club staff there, if you follow them on Twitter. Anyway, it's not ready. Maybe we'll get to visit there this season when we get back underway. So that's round 1. Round 2 was the Challenge Cup round. Who was the first player to score a hat-trick in a Challenge Cup final? It was Robbie Paul, but he didn't win. They lost against St Helens. That was the game that was shown on the retrospective programme the other day. Fantastic final. Maybe the last great final. That certainly sticks in my mind as a really good final. High scoring. Bobby Goulding kicking them high bombs. It was Bradford struggled to deal with. Anyway, Robbie Paul scored a hat-trick. He didn't win though. Question 2. In which year was the video referee first used in the final? 1999. It was London against Leeds. Leeds won comfortably. Leroy Rivette scoring 4 tries. He ended up playing at Rochdale, I think, a few years ago. He finished up his career at Rochdale. 1999, first video ref. Number 3, which Wigan player shares the record of 46 points in cup finals with Kevin Sinfield? It's Frano Botica. Never missed a kick, did he? Brilliant kicker, one of the best kickers that you'll ever see. Obviously, Wigan won the final. Probably every year he was at the club, maybe. He might have won it every year. Number 4, who has won... Where are we up to? Number 4, Sean Edwards. Who did he play for other than Wigan in the Challenge Cup finals? It was London in that 1999 final. I'd forgotten about that. I think Martin Afire played as well. Scored a good try playing for London. Number 5, who has won more Challenge Cups, St Helens or Leeds? 50-50, toss of a coin. It was Leeds. They've won 13. St Helens have only won 12. Only is a bit harsh. They've won it 12 times, but Leeds is the answer. They've won it 13 times. And on to the next part. Where was the 2006 final played the last before returning to Wembley? It was Twickenham. St Helens beat Huddersfield at Twickenham. I think just one final at Twickenham. Murrayfield did one, maybe a Millennium Stadium, a couple. I think. Maybe someone can correct me on that. Now, Murrayfield was where Radlinski won the trophy. He was injured before the game, wasn't he? And then he played and won the Lance Todd Trophy for Wigan. Millennium Stadium. Leeds played Bradford. Bradford beat Leeds there, didn't they? Might have been another one there. Anyway, I'll stop waffling on. Number 7, which ground hosted the first cup final? It was Headingley. Batley beat St Helens 10-3 at Headingley. Number 8, what was unusual about the 1943, 44 and 45 finals? They were played over 2 legs. Now, people criticise the RFL for changing the rules and formats and not sticking with them. It's not a new thing, is it? They went for 3 years, they did 2 legs, and then they ditched it. Dewsbury, Bradford and Huddersfield are winners of those 3 finals. Number 9 was Hull FC. Finally broke their Wembley duck in 2016. How many times have they failed? 8 times. 1959, 1960, 1980, 1982, which was a draw. They won the replay elsewhere. 1983, 85, 2008 and 2013. Long curse. Finally broke it in 2016. And number 10, who won the Lance Todd Trophy 3 times? It was Sean Long. 2001, 2004 and 2006. Fantastic player, one of my favourites. Everyone likes a Maverick halfback, and not many better than Sean Long did it on the international stage as well. So 3 times. Right, should we crack on? Let's move on to round 3. Quick drink. Record breakers of rugby league. The screen's quite blue. It's just for the lighting in the room. Maybe if we do it again, we'll try and sort something out. I'm not turning blue. I've not got some disease, thankfully. Right, let's move on before I say anything that gets me in trouble. Question 1. Who holds the record for most tries in a Super League season? Who holds the record for most tries in a Super League season? Super League, stress. It's not counting the pre-Super League era, that question. Not sure anyone would have surpassed it anyway. It was a good effort. Number 2, which centre joined St Helens from Bradford in 1995 in a deal said to be worth a record £500,000? Wow, £500,000. Which centre joined St Helens from Bradford in 1995 in a deal said to be worth £500,000? Not sure any club could afford that now. Brilliant player though. And worth every penny, I think they would probably argue. Question 3. The record lowest score in a Super League game is 4-0. It's happened 3 times, most recently in 2019, so last season, between which 2 sides? The record lowest score in a Super League game was 4-0. It's happened 3 times, most recently last season, between which 2 sides? Question 4. Who were the first team to be relegated from Super League? 1996. Who was the first team to be relegated? Who was relegated in the first summer season? Number 5. Which player won the Man of Steel award 3 times in the 1980s? Best British player of all time, maybe? Too young to have seen him playing. Yeah, a lot of people say the best British player there's been. He won Man of Steel 3 times in the 80s. Question 6. Who holds the record for most career points? That's all time, that's not just Super League. Who holds the record for the most career points? It's a staggering amount, which I'll tell you when we go through the answers. Number 7. Brian Bevan holds the record for the most career tries. How many did he score? Was it 749, 796, or 803? That's a tremendous amount of tries. How many did Brian Bevan score? Warrington legend. 749, 796, or 803? Very good Warrington podcast called What Would Brian Bevan Say? Which I started listening to when Matty Ashton joined to see what they thought of him. Very impressed they are. It's good podcast. I recommend that. Not as good as the Swinton podcast though. Out today. Mixcloud.com/Swinton_Lions. I'm going to get that plug in again. Number 8. Who did West Wales... Put my teeth back in. Who did West Wales Raiders beat in 2019 to record their first win? West Wales Raiders. I'm fairly sure it was front page of the League Express and League Weekly when eventually they won a game. Who did they beat? Who was the unlucky team? Credit to them for sticking at it. Had a tough time, the West Wales Raiders. Who did they beat? Number 9. Which Australian holds the record for being the oldest player in Super League? Who's the oldest Super League player? An Australian. Gareth Ellis is still playing. Could beat it maybe this year or if he went on one more year. He's getting towards that age. Which Australian currently holds the record for being the oldest player in the Super League? And number 10, which journeyman hooker was Super League's youngest player? See what I did there? The youngest player at 16 years old when he made his Saints debut versus Wigan. Which journeyman hooker was Super League's youngest player at 16 years old when he made his St Helens debut against Wigan? Just thinking, if someone had thrown me into a Super League game at 16 or at 31 actually, but at 16 I would have been killed. Which hooker was the youngest player at 16 years old? That's the end of the records round. Hope you're all doing okay. Next round is guess the player, the final round. So I'll just explain how it's going to work again. There will be 2 clues and they make up the name of a player. Just to give an example, which is one that I scrapped. The lead singer of Oasis, maker of guitar amps, would be Liam Marshall. Liam Gallagher, lead singer of Oasis, and Marshall make guitar amps. I ditched that question, but that's an example. That's the kind of thing we're going for, yeah? So the clues could relate to the first name or second name, but they're in order. Right. I hope you all understand that. First one's quite easy, so hopefully you can get it. It's past and present players. I think about 50-50 split. Okay. Question 1. Postman, Rolling Stones guitarist. Postman, Rolling Stones guitarist. So Postman is the clue for the first name. Rolling Stones guitarist is the clue for the second name. Put them together and you should have a rugby league player, past or present. Yeah, I think we all understand that. Might become clearer as we go along. Yep, number 2. A famous sheep, potato royalty. A famous sheep, potato royalty. So the first name, the clue is a famous sheep. The surname, potato royalty, is the clue. Put them together, you'll get a rugby league player. Number 3, former Premier League referee David, the other half of Stoke. I think this might be the toughest one. Former Premier League referee David, the other half of Stoke. The referee was 90s, maybe into the noughties. Retired now. Yep, so question 3, former Premier League referee David, clue for the first name, the other half of Stoke is a clue for the second name. I think, if you don't understand it by now, there's no hope for you, so apologies. Number 4, Corries Barlow, head of the organisation. Corries Barlow, head of the organisation. If you don't watch Corrie, you might not know, but you might get the surname and then be able to guess the first name. Corries Barlow, head of the organisation. Number 5, Australian bowler Lee, fairground ride. Australian bowler Lee, fairground ride. Storm, if you're watching, I would appreciate another beer. If you're not watching, why are you not watching? Australian bowler Lee, fairground ride. Question 6. A person from north of the border makes clothes. A person from north of the border is the first name. Makes clothes is clue for the second name. Who could it be? Not long left now. Number 7. One half of Bros. She was watching. Thanks. I know, I've got at least one viewer. I appreciate that. Question 7. One half of Bros. Bit blowy. One half of Bros. Pop band in the late 80s. I think. One half of them. Bit blowy. I think he's an actor now. But he was a pop star. Started out. One half of Bros. Bit blowy. Number 8. 90s pop star turned Doctor Who actress. Puts tiles on the roof. '90s pop star turned actress who puts tiles on the roof. Drink responsibly, by the way. Just thirsty work this. Question 9. Host of The Chase and a river in Scotland. Host of The Chase, river in Scotland. If you know the clue for the first one, you might be able to guess the second one. If you know the clue for the second one but not the first one, you might be able to guess it. Although there's a lot of rivers in Scotland, you'd probably struggle to guess the right river, but host of a chase, river in Scotland. And question 10, the final question. The King of Pop. In 1066, Harold lost his eye. The King of Pop. In 1066, Harold lost his eye. Who could it be? And that completes the quiz. Just got the answers for the last 2 rounds to go through. Hope everyone's enjoying it. And if there's demand to do it again, maybe we'll do it again. People want a Swinton specific quiz. I'm sure we can do that. I'm sure Steve Wild will help with some of the historical stuff. I'll throw something in there for everyone, some modern stuff, as well as some historical stuff. Be a good learning experience for me, actually, because I've got to be honest, my knowledge on the history of the club isn't comprehensive. So maybe we'll do that next time if people want to do it. Right, shall we go through some answers? Round 3 was on the record breakers of rugby league. And these are the answers. Get the questions on my piece of paper. Round 3. Who holds the record for the most tries in the Super League season? It was Denny Solomona, which rather amusingly, the app that I used to create this corrected to Denny Salmons the first time I did it, and I noticed it as I was doing a bit of a trial run. Denny Solomona, he scored 40 tries in 2016 for Castleford. Didn't win Super League though, unfortunately, because they played a good brand of rugby. Who was the record transfer said to be £500,000? It was Paul Newlove. It was £250 in cash plus 3 players, 3 first team players. I think Paul Lachlan was one of them who, if I remember right, ended up playing at Swinton at the end of his career. So I'm sure someone will correct me on that. Paul Newlove, yeah, great centre, former Featherstone. He scored loads of tries for Fev before he moved on. Number 3, 4-0 scorelines. Who was the one last year? It was St Helens and Castleford. St Helens won 4-0 in August 2019. The previous 2 were Salford against Castleford again. in 1997, and Celtic Crusaders, remember them? They lost 4-0 against St Helens as well. Number 4, who was the first relegated team from Super League? It was Workington. They'd never been back. They were replaced by Salford at the end of that first summer season. Salford have been up and down a bit since then, but Workington have never been back. I think Oldham went the following year. I bet a few people guessed Oldham. Number 5, who was Man of Steel 3 times in the 80s, 1985, 87 and 89. It was Ellery Hanley, the Pearl. A lot of people say he's the greatest British player of all time. His son's coming through the ranks at Wigan now, and he's tipped for big things. Ellery Hanley, Man of Steel 3 times. Sculthorpe and Farrell both did it twice, but nobody's done it 3 times since Ellery Hanley. Number 6, who's the top point scorer in their career? It was Neil Fox, who scored a sensational 6,220 points, consisting of 358 tries and 2,575 goals and 4 drop goals. Not very good at drop goals, was he? Just 4. I'm sure Danny Wilson got more than that in one game for Swinton. Maybe the different balls weren't as good maybe in them days. But yeah, Neil Fox, top scorer. Number 7, how many tries did Brian Bevan score? It was 796. I made that multiple choice because I think it would have been quite difficult to guess unless you were a Warrington fan. But 796, that's some going. He had a long career, but still some going. Having watched them cup finals actually the other day, them old cup finals, defences weren't very good, were they? In the old games, you watch them old games back, I know the fitness is different and they didn't have the same level of interchanges, but defences weren't a patch on today, which may have assisted him, but still a good effort. I don't want to do down his achievement. Number 8, who did West Wales Raiders beat? It was Coventry Bears. Congratulations to them for winning that game last season. Hopefully they can win more this season, because nobody wants to see a team getting thrashed every week, apart from Salford and Lee. I don't like Lee. Hi to any Salford or Lee fans watching. Number 9, who's the oldest player in Super League? It was Steve Menzies. Always wore the scrum hat, didn't he? Played for Catalans, back end of his career. One of the all-time greats, I would say. Did it in Australia, came over here, did okay as well. He was winding down his career, but fantastic player, went on into his 40s. And number 10, who was the youngest player, it was Scott Moore. Played for Swinton, finished up at Swinton last season, got injured, had to retire. But he made his St Helens debut against Wigan, age 16, which is pretty scary. Must have been intimidated. I don't think he scares easily, does he, Scott Moore? But made his debut, age just 16. Had a long career, played for a lot of clubs. Got involved in a few things as well off the field. Anyway, onto the round, which I didn't really come up with a good name for, but it was guess the player. Postman, Rolling Stones guitarist. It was Pat Richards. Postman Pat, Keith Richards, Pat Richards. See what I did? Yeah. Pat Richards. Number 2, a famous sheep and potato royalty. It was Sean Edwards. Sean the Sheep, Wallace and Gromit. He's got his own series as well. Anyone with kids will know that. Good show. And King Edward Potatoes, the potato royalty, Sean Edwards. One of my all-time favourite players. His will to win, sensational. Should have been back at Wigan, shouldn't he? As coaching, but didn't happen for whatever reason. It'd be great to have him back in the game. A lot of respect for Sean Edwards. Number 3, the Premier League referee David, and the other half of Stoke, it was Ellery Hanley. So David Ellery was the Premier League referee, and Hanley is the other half of Stoke. It's sort of a bit like Manchester and Salford. It's sort of split in half. And Hanley's the other part. Yeah. So number 4, this is my favourite one. Corrie's Barlow, Ken. I think even if you don't watch Corrie, you know who Ken Barlow is. And head of the organisation, CEO, bit cheeky, CO, Ken CO. played for Salford. I think he made his debut. He played in the friendly against us. Kicked a few goals. I think they have 3 different goal kickers in that game. But did he kick a goal? Well, he scored a try anyway, definitely. Ken CEO. Yeah. Number 5, the Australian bowler was Brett Lee. And the fairground ride was a Ferris wheel. Put them together. You've got Brett Ferris. Signed at Featherstone this season. Came on off the bench against us and did nothing, to be fair. Didn't make an impact on the game. Fair play to our forwards. Just messing with my arm. Like everyone, need of a haircut. Might have to shave my head, I don't know. I'm not sure Storm would be too happy with that. And the final set of answers. Number 6, it was a person from north of the border, a Scot. Makes clothes, a tailor. Put them together, you get Scott Taylor. Current player. Yeah, number 7, one half of Bros, 80s pop band. Bit blowy. It's Luke Gale. So Luke Goss was in Bros. He's an actor now, I believe. And Gale, bit blowy, so whether, yeah. Luke Gale. Number 8, the pop star that was then in Doctor Who was Billy Piper. Puts tiles on the roof. He's a Slater. Put them together, Billy Slater. Number 8, Billy Slater. Number 9, host of The Chase is Bradley Walsh. The Scottish River is the Clyde. Put them together, Bradley Clyde. Australian international. I think he played alongside Menzies, I'm sure. Played in the 94 Ashes series and he was taken out by Sean Edwards, wasn't he? The first test at Wembley. Sean Edwards was sent off for a high tackle. Great Britain went on to win. Jonathan Davies scoring that famous try, probably in my top 5 rugby league moments of all time. Maybe the moment I fell in love with rugby league watching that. Watched the video of that a million times, wore it out. Didn't win the series though, did we? No, we never do. But yeah, we won the first test. Bradley Clyde was the player. Number 10, final question. The King of Pop, Michael Jackson. And the 1066 Battle of Hastings. So we're on Jackson Hastings. I think the picture's just frozen up there. I hope it's still working on your stream. I might be catching up. Might be a bit of lag there. But yeah, so the final answer, I'll say that again because it got stuck. Number 10, the clues were King of Pop and King Harold lost his eye. The answers were Michael Jackson, the King of Pop, and the Battle of Hastings. Put them together, you get Jackson Hastings. Now at Wigan was at Salford last year. And that's it. That's the end of the quiz. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Enjoyed putting it together. I hope everything's worked okay and everyone was able to see everything and hear everything. If you want to go to Twitter, Swinton_Lions and post your scores, or if you want to go on Facebook and put them on there, or even on the Swinton family page, we'll see who's done the best scores. No prizes, but a bit of fun. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. One final plug for the podcast, mixcloud.com/Swinton_Lions. Episode 2 came out today. We hope to keep putting out episodes throughout this lockdown period. Shout out to the Pride Builder guys. Those people that are sticking with it. I think we're around 100 people that are signed up to Pride Builder. Play a big role for the club in recruitment. And the Supporters Trust as well. Do great work for the club. Aside from the playing side of things, other things as well. So yeah, that's it. Hope you've all enjoyed it. Hope you've all done well. I hope it wasn't too hard. But please let me know on social media if it was too hard, too easy. If you want to do it again, or if you want a Swinton specific quiz, or even general knowledge, we can do whatever. We can do whatever. I hope you're all staying safe and well. Stay at home. Those of you that are having to go out to work, stay safe. I've had a bit of time off in isolation, but I will be back at work this week. So yeah, everyone stay safe. Take care. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.